And welcome back into Tapped Out here on the BetQL Network with my co-host Brendan Tobin, sports machine Sean Levine, and now we welcome on Beneil Dariush, who fights in UFC 289, taking on Du Bronx Charles Oliveira. And I know that all the focus is on this fight, but obviously we know what happens if you win this fight. Is there any sort of extra pressure? Is there any sort of, my goodness, I've been working my whole life for this, and if I win this one, then I get there?
No, not really one of those guys. I'm more of a this is where God's put me. This is where I'm supposed to be. So enjoy the moment and do my best, and God will take care of the rest.
It's interesting, Beneil, because down here in Miami, we have a bunch of titles going on with the Heat are in the NBA Finals, the Panthers are in the Stanley Cup, and I always marvel that too with you guys, you athletes. It's like it's insane because we all think of this as this monster big thing. Was there a point in your life where that changed, where you felt like, was there ever a time where you felt a lot of pressure and you needed something that got you to that mindset where like, it is what it is, I'll take care of it, I believe all that? Or were you, or were you always this way?
No, I fell under pressure for sure. Before I was a Christian, I would do my best, obviously still, but pressure crippled me for sure. And then when I realized, the talents that I have are God given. It was such a relief. Meaning, all I had to do was do my best, and the rest is in his hands. So if I don't win, but I do my best, God is glorified, and He'll glorify His name, and that's all I care about. So that really took a lot of stress off my back, and ever since that, man, my career has changed so much. So I would definitely say. It wasn't the reason why I became a Christian, but when I became a Christian and understood God's character, things changed for me, like night and day.
Hey, man, you never know where life's going to lead you. Beneil Dariush joining us here on Tapped Out. Because I was reading some stories about how it's been a long, long time since you lost a fight. But I was reading that when you did lose your last fight, man, you were even contemplating retirement. You were thinking about doing, like, what else were you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe coach. Maybe I want to be a missionary when I'm done with all this. But at that point, I was so sad. I honestly didn't know what I was gonna do. But I knew I couldn't keep fighting because I was having so many issues, and in training I couldn't take a punch. So like, if you can't take a punch, how are you gonna fight? Because even on your best day, you're gonna get hit at least once, right? So it was one of those situations. It was really tough.
I'm curious, but like faith is very personal for a lot of guys, but I've read with Manny Pacquiao before, like at a point in his career, he almost felt like conflicted with it because you do a very violent thing for a living, even though it is competitive sport. Do you ever wrestle with that stuff? Like, is that ever a thing that you battle with internally?
I would say early on, I had a little bit of an issue with it, and I understood one thing. See, if I have hatred in my heart, it for my brother, it's considered a sin. It's murder, basically, is what Jesus says. But here's the thing: if I stand across that octagon, I don't hate the guy in front of me. I recognize what he's doing, trying to feed his family, trying to reach his goals, trying to make his dream come true. I recognize that, and understand that this is a competition. There's no sin in that. Then it's fine. We can go and fight, and at the end, shake hands and be cordial and even be friends. Right? There, a lot of guys I've fought now. We're very close and we're friends now. So I don't struggle with that anymore. I did a little bit in the beginning.
Do you, Beneil, have a favorite moment in the octagon? Because you're on the BetQL network, and I don't know if you're a betting guy or not, obviously not on the UFC, but to me, like, got to tell you, the biggest bet that I ever hit, I had Beneil Dariush. I had you by knockout over Jakar Close. And, dude, I was jumping around the house. I was running around the room. I was wrestling with the dogs. My girlfriend was like, what's going on? I mean, do you have a favorite moment in the octagon?
That was for sure one of those moments, right? It was very surreal for me when I don't know how to explain it. Like, it felt like time stood still. It literally just felt like time wasn't moving, and I said, "Hey, this guy's not gonna do this to me," and something snapped, and I went forward. So that is definitely up there. It is definitely one of those moments in my octagon career. I just remember just being in a different mindset. So I think you kind of hit it on the nail. But I'll put one more in there just because
Jimmy.
this last one, I win the fight. I come out I come out of the octagon, and people tell me my opponent was the 2.5 favorite over me. And so I got a little salty over that, and I sat down, I watched the fight, and it's a moment that I just constantly think about. Like, I was going into that fight, I didn't recognize myself as the underdog. The world saw me as the underdog, but I didn't recognize myself as the underdog. And I knew God had me there for a reason, and I just wasn't afraid. So it was one of those moments where it always comes back to me. Just doesn't matter what the world thinks. I'm here for a reason.
For the record, you're not that guy anymore. I'm looking at it right now, but MGM has you as the favorite at -150. Does that surprise you? Because like we always talk about, and I think you'd agree, unbelievably disrespected for a guy that's been on a winning streak like you have, going for 9 in a row, 5 years in a row since you lost. Are you surprised that you're favored to win this fight?
Honestly, I am. When they had me favored against Tony, I said, okay, it makes sense. He's coming off of a rough patch, right?
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira is possibly the best lightweight of all time. I have him as the second best lightweight of all time, right? With his with what he's done in that cage, with how many times he's defended his belt and the way he defended it. So I have high regards for Charles Oliveira. So for this to be for me to be the favorite, it's unexpected, I guess.
Obviously very confident in your skills, but what are the things that concern you prep for the most when it comes to a guy like Charles, who's got a lot of dangerous things that he can do in that octagon?
Mostly his offensive mindset is what I try to focus on. I try to think to myself, whether I'm in a good position or in a bad position, he will risk finishing me and losing the position. So that's something I have to be extra careful of. So I can't give him any open spaces, for him to jump on a counter or jump on my neck, or just jump on anything he can get on.
Just out of curiosity, because Brendan and I both had money on Volkanovski in the Islam fight. We both, a little biased, thought that Volk won. Who did you think won that fight, man?
I had Makhachev winning, but I will say this: you could arguably make a good case, I think, against for it being a draw. If the last round is a 10-8 round, then that fight is a draw.
Did you how much are you looking forward to that matchup? I mean, it was a matchup you were supposed to have that was basically supposed to be the de facto #1 contender. Now it's likely you get past this, that's going to be the title shot. So how much you've had Islam on your mind a lot. What do you think of that matchup if it is to come to be?
I genuinely believe I could beat him. I really do. I think I have the skill sets to overcome him. I have the skill sets to put him in positions he's never been before. So that's really what I believe. But before that, I got to make sure I overcome Charles, and that is not an easy task.
How much does the confidence that Rafael Cordero gives you kind of help you? Because it seems like your guys' relationship is at a different level. I mean, all fighters and their coach have a special relationship, but you kind of seem like you're his guy.
Yeah, so it's so awesome, right? We have such a great relationship, and what's awesome is to see him. He was there when like Fabricio beat Fedor Emelianenko, and everybody said Fedor was unbeatable at that time. He was there when Hoffa beat Anthony Pettis, and everybody was like, Anthony Pettis, he's so good. He just submitted Ben Henderson, and he beat Gilbert. Yeah, not Gilbert. Is it Gilbert? Yeah, I don't know. He beat everybody, and so to know he was there for those moments just gives me just encourages me to know that I could go out there and I could go at it with anybody.
What are the things you like to do in like the last days before you get to a big matchup like this? Like, how do you unwind? Obviously you got a weight cut and all that to get through, but like, what are the things in a fight week that bring you comfort to before you get ready for this?
So last fight, I brought my whole family with me to Abu Dhabi. So I pretty much spent the whole time with my daughter. And funny thing is, I could see the other fighters looking at me like, this guy's either stupid or he's nuts or he's just here to collect a paycheck, because they looked at me like I wasn't serious. I wasn't really here to fight. So, but that's one of the things I like to do. I just like to spend time with my family. I have a fear, if I leave my daughter for 2 weeks and I come back and all of a sudden mom's the favorite and no longer does she want to hang out with me. I put a lot of time in, to be the favorite. So I have these fears, and so I make sure I bring my family with me and I don't miss out with them. These last days are the hardest, but I still try to get as much time as I can with them.
I was watching that on Embedded. Your wife kind of gave you the out. She was like, I'll take care of the kids. You're like, nah, bring them along. I'll help. I'm thinking, this guy is nuts, man. He's got a fight coming up. His wife was she said she would take care of it. Speaking of, hey, Beneil, before you get out of here, do you think winning this fight will maybe finally earn you the respect that I feel you deserve, Brendan feels that you deserve, and I'm sure you feel like for years has kind of been in the rearview mirror? Do you feel that all catches up with you if you go out there and take out Charles Oliveira?
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? I'm starting to see a trend. The media all of a sudden is recognizing me before this fight. After the Gamrot fight, for sure, the other fighters starting to recognize me, and then finally even the fans. Like, these are the three that I thought the fans would be the last, but the fans are now behind me. The media is behind me, and so are my peers, other fighters. So all that's left is to prove the UFC, and then hopefully the UFC will get behind me.
That's got to surprise you, though. I mean, I was watching your highlight reel, and I always do this, not just because I was bringing you on. Dude, you got some serious knockouts, some crazy submissions. Like, you're far from a boring fighter. There are some guys out there, it's like, yeah, they win. Dude, you're one of the more exciting fighters in the promotion.
That obviously that's a subjective thought, and I hope a lot of people agree with you. But I think what it is let's be honest, man. I'm kind of a zealot. I'm not gonna mince my words about it. I'm kind of Jesus. I'm a bit of a Jesus zealot. So I get it's not easy to promote somebody like me. So I get why the UFC has a hard time getting behind me. But at the same time, I'm not going to change who I am just to be more promotable, right? This is who I am. If you like me, awesome. If you don't like me, I'm sorry you don't like me. Well, you have a great day. I don't know what to tell you.
How do people not like Beneil Dariush? Are you kidding me?
It's been a delight.
Takes on Bronx Charles Oliveira, UFC 289 on Saturday night. Kind enough to stop by and talk to us first on Tap That. Benny, thanks so much, my guy. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. Take care.